So from here on now, I'll put that up on YouTube or here on Twitch. Crap, I'm supposed to do that. Anyways, starting from here, it'll be recorded. And I'll share it after this, um, after I upload it. All right, cool. So I know you might have just missed all that, but it basically went over actions. I'll be doing a video, so don't worry about it. I'll be doing a video in the next couple days about how to set up actions in a more advanced way. And yeah, from here, I want to kind of try to address some of the confusion any of you guys were having. So if you have questions, just send them into the Twitch chat right now. Um, and I'll see what I can do. So yes, you can set up custom card decks, but right now it's only with code, right? They're pretty easy to like actually add them into, like add cards into it, but you have to actually go in and add a script for it. I want to add a little interface that lets you just um, set up cards, like pick an image, there's your card, make a deck out of it. Let's see, I don't. Okay, good. I can pull up the code here. Yeah, so it's a bit big. I don't think I can put it in the chat, but come talk to me after if you actually want to do the code thing, or you can just wait until I actually do that little interface thing. All right, how do we import spells and stuff from the workshop? So I don't think there's any packs up here on the workshop yet for spells, but if you have the files, essentially where they go to is, so I'm going to pull up my Steam folder here. In your public folder, you have all this stuff. If you download a new pack with a bunch of content like characters and stuff from the workshop, it'll be put into this packs folder, your public packs folder. For now, if you do have them, they'll appear as like a custom library over here, right? If you're not seeing it after you subscribe to it, that's because there's no way for me to listen to a web browser to see if something got subscribed to in the workshop. So just go ahead and hit refresh. Where's the nudes folder? That's on a different part of the computer. The dark web part of my computer. So yeah, once you subscribe to something on the workshop, you basically can press the refresh button, or you can restart the program. I added in the last patch. Every time you start up the program, it basically installs your workshop stuff. So, um, once you have it, you basically just go to the spells and like you could take anybody and just dump it into them, right? And then that spell is now in the spell book. So, wow, these are very detailed. I got this pack from D. He's got some stuff. I'm not gonna volunteer him, but if you can coax him into giving you some of the content, he's got some cool stuff coming up for D&D. All right, let's go to the next question. All right, how do we import spells? Where do you begin when making a world? So I'll actually start one from scratch, just to show you guys like how I do things. So basically, I just pick my system. I'll just pick world building just in case we do something. Right. So once you set up your game, then you're greeted with the familiar layout. Um, the way I usually start is I'll start mucking about with this game board thing because usually I'll make a lot, so I'd like rename the world to be, I don't know, what's a meme world? Yeah, whatever, Earth. It's gonna make something funny, but Then I'd pick like a background map. This is my go-to right now because it's some of the sample content. But yeah, I basically pick my world map. Uh, then I can create an asset if I want to. I can do that from this menu here by right-clicking. So if I want to put in like another map or something, right? I can put it in here and then obviously enter over to it if I want to make a new world. Um, it all kind of depends. Like this is kind of where it comes down to the user. Zoom in, right? But you know, sometimes I'll decorate with like tokens and things like that. Um, you can do stuff a little bit easier here than having to like go into that menu every time because you can just drop stuff out. Um, but then you could select it too if you wanted to. It's a little hard to see with the dark background, but found it. Ignore me. Let's see. So once you basically set up your world map, I mean it depends, right? Do you want to start with making an encounter, or do you want to start with like yeah, see that's where it comes down to it because I've actually built some games where I just built a scenario, right? And that's actually what the Fall of Harvest is, which is a mod on the workshop right now. It's just like I thought of a scenario, I started writing out the notes for it, and then I booted it up. So I know I'm probably not answering your question too well, but all right, yeah. Let's do probably an encounter, right? I'll go over to something else I have. Um, I'll go to the Fall of Harvest. Why not? So, yeah, it kind of all depends on what you want to do. Like here, I have a pretty big world. Um, this is a scenario I wrote for. Uh, basically, it's like you're basically raiding a facility, but crap, explaining stuff's a little harder than I thought. All right, let's just set up a basic encounter. Kind of lose my train of thought. All right, basic encounter. So, setting up an encounter, it, you know, well, with a lot of things in this tool, it comes down to how you want to use it. So, let's say we're just setting up a dungeon, right? All right. I should probably configure the grid. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm basically just realigning the grid so it doesn't like, so it actually scales properly, right? So your pieces actually land on the right places. You can do that with the draw grid button here. Oh, right click. If you want to change the folder color, right click on it. So once you have all this stuff set up, like you'll notice I have everything organized right now. I've got blue squad, purple squad, all this stuff, right? If I was setting up an encounter for players, I probably would start by making a new layer or using like the trap layer. And then depending if I want them to see what's going on, I would disable whether or not that's visible. So let's say they're running into like a squad of orcs, right? Um, basically, you would set up, you know, your orcs. Oh, hang on. If you want to duplicate stuff, you hold shift. They're the same asset, so if like something happens to this one, it happens to the other one too. Like watch. But it could be useful if you have um, like the same profile for a monster or something like that. We're still kind of looking into ways to make that like having duplicate monsters with the same profile. It's kind of a complicated problem. We've had a lot of discussions on chat about it. But back to the encounter prep, right? So now I have my three enemies. They're all on the trap layer. My player's not going to see them because they're going to be on the player layer, right? And then if they like walked in, I would either reveal it right here, or I would use like a trigger or something to reveal that. So once you have the encounter set up per se, like once you're ready to go, um, you could you could write into your notes a predefined combat. So like let's say I'll just make a new resource, normal notes, right? I could put in a combat here, and then I could set up a combat in advance. So what do they call it? A little Uda, right? Which will automatically roll my characters here, and then put it in there, and now it appears here. So when I come across this encounter in my notes, I just go ahead and hit combat, right? And then it gets added over here, and then I can basically enable it and start the combat. If I had another player in this game, they would be added to the combat automatically. So you wouldn't have to like add them to the add them manually. It'll prompt them for an initiative roll. So actually, you know what? No, maybe that's a little too complicated. But all right, let's see. Any way to move the map building window in the bottom left to the side? No. That don't worry, that's been complained about. Debating right now to move this entire menu into this one here because this one can be moved around and you can like hide it off screen and stuff if you want. But yeah, still debating on where to put it. If we want to make it mobile, it just gets a little weird when you start laying stuff out because this menu has the potential to be really wide. Like you see how big it is on length. But yeah, still mulling that one over. Okay. Where do I see that workshop window? So the workshop window you can find up in the top right, or well, wherever you put this. And up here you can go to my workshop to manage what workshop mods you have. I don't have any on this account, but you can go over here to submit a file to the workshop, or you can create your new, like your own custom libraries, which you'll notice I've done here just for testing. And I've got like a bunch of crappy test assets, but you know. Once you have them in here, you can just drag them out, like, and they'll get created into your game. If you'll notice, like you'll see here, they get created as temp assets, and when you delete a temp asset, it deletes them from the game. All right. We're gonna get a folder for temp assets, so you're not stuck there. Basically, fiddling, like having a full menu of just temp assets. Like they'll be grouped in like a folder, so you don't get bogged down or lost in the big menus with that. All right. Yeah, sure. I'll go back over actions and let me kind of slow it down a bit because I am kind of freaking out. But you can color these things by going to color, right? You can color folders by right-clicking on it. All right. So let's go back over actions because those are pretty important. I'm gonna go back to my other game though, just because it's D&D and it's more friendly, I think, for you guys to see it that way. So, doot. Yeah, the character creator right now, be wary of it. It's not SRD compliant. Like I actually went through the book and I was like trying to set it up. Oh, it is SRD compliant. It's not accurate. There are a couple mistakes in it. Um, but yeah, so everybody, what he's talking about is in the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, there's a character creator menu, right? This is something I wrote a long time ago, and I was brand new to D&D, and um, it's not perfect, but basically you have all your classes, and then if you click on stuff, you have subclasses that you can pick, right? And you can have like limitations, right? You see this thing saying parentheses 3. I can only pick 3 of them. Um, 2 simple melee weapons will give me choices, and they'll all get, like added in. You can roll random stuff, right? Pretty cool. It's not really finished yet. I mean, it's working, but I don't have anything accurate, so I haven't really talked about it. Absolutely, yeah. Uh, how would you go about adding 5e and fluff or completely different systems? So from the ground up, this has so I can't officially say I support a system because then I start to run into some issues with copyright and licensing, and I don't want to infringe on anybody's work, right? I'm here to make a system for you guys to play tabletop games. That being said, I have provided sample games that are similar enough to these systems where you could connect the dots. If you wanted to make an official D&D system, you could build off it. Right now, importing, you can build systems from scratch, right? In the options and mods section, there's a system builder, and this is powerful. It's a little clunky. I'll give it that. It is pretty clunky. I've used it though, and the fact that I can find my way through it means that at least it's functional. There's a big barrier right now because people don't know what's going on, and I haven't had time to explain it. But in here, you can do custom attributes. You can do this on any sheet, by the way, too. You can make custom character sheets that operate totally independent of your system, right? So in the case of like, let's say you have a basic character sheet, and then you wanted to have a vehicle in it that just operates completely different. You can do that really easy. In fact, I'll show you that I have a custom or a couple of sample templates, right? So pre-made sheets, I have like a shop, right? I have a container, so like an object or something like that. Let's see what else I got. Yeah, spell shop, notes only, um, empty completely, blank notes, which is just like this with notes, and then you can build off it. Uh, but yeah, you can use the system builder and just start adding stuff in, right? Uh, it's all stored in like JSON, so like I could right click on this and see the code that generates it, and then you could start to fiddle with it from there. Yeah. Um, the Star Wars system, actually, I will say I think it's pretty good. It's not for Star Wars per se, but it kind of uses some of Fantasy Flight's dice, and it's pretty close to it. But I'll show you that system after this because it's drastically different than what you would expect from like D&D or something like that because it doesn't even use dice the same way. But you can dig through the system builder and do all sorts of things like set up constants. Like here, basically what constants do is in the macro language you can program shortcuts. So like you're not writing everything out. For instance, this AC constant basically totals your armor including shields. So it will take your character's armor class and then it will spit out a number with all the shield additions added to it. And it does some logic here. You'll notice it like checks to see if the character's armor class is greater than 0, and if it is, it'll give you the armor class. Um, but yeah, it gets pretty complicated. Not totally unapproachable though, and I think that's what's the awesome part about it. Because like you can bang your head against a wall and actually get somewhere, whereas like from my experience with Roll20, if you really want to do some more advanced stuff, you gotta like actually bust open the code, right? So you can edit sheets down to individual components on pretty much anything. It's very flexible, very very flexible. It depends. So like in the Dungeons End 5th edition or whatever I call it in this, it uses the HP counter. So like the system actually references No, I forgot. I changed this to double click. The system references the hit points field here, right? And the hit points field is under your attributes, under your counters, and it'll tell you the macro, right? Hit points, and then I could change this to like 6, right? And then I'll go back, and his health is adjusted accordingly. All right. I'm gonna show off. Yes, you can import pictures. This has a very limited file browser, but you can use your computer's file browser, and then you can just drop them in if you want, right? And they'll get added. Like here, put a portal in, right? But basically, just go to your Steam Apps Common folder, and you can put actual files in the public custom folder. Or you can upload here, but I don't recommend the uploading here. It's kind of crappy. Like it exists if you want to do like one file here and there, but if you're doing like a lot of files, um, you don't really want to mess with that. It's easier just to do it all on your desktop computer. Um, you got music and stuff too. You got One Punch Man theme. All right, let me go over to the Empire system, and I'll just briefly go over that, and then I'll show you how to do the dynamic lighting. There's also a video on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out after this. But for now, what do we got? One shot first. All right, cool. So this is a you can actually grab this on the workshop right now. It's this guy Peter is a friend of mine. Back in the day when this project first started, he made everything for one of his homebrew adventures, and he put it into GM Forge, and I finally got around to porting it. It's got 6 adventures in it, and a ton of stuff for you to use, right? Very cool. But yeah, let me show you like the difference, right? So here I have a ship, right? And then here I have a character sheet. And they're both working in the same system, right? The ship has a little bit different, like a different layout, but the character sheet has a lot, a lot more going on with it, right? They still follow the general rules, but you can have literally every independent sheet as its own thing, right? So it basically can operate independent of your system if you need it to. This makes it kind of cool because like if you're grabbing stuff from multiple games, like let's say you have like a Fallout RPG or like a I don't know, a Warhammer RPG, right? You could mix the content if you really wanted to. I don't know how useful that is, but you can do it. Um, but yeah, like this character sheet, you can click on the dice and then add in modifiers and stuff. Um, and then you'll roll it, and it'll appear over here as, what you did. The combat system I've heard doesn't actually work for Star Wars Edge of the Empire. I heard there's like some rules about it, but you'll notice that the initiative system is flexible enough to like take really strange initiative. Like in this case, you'll notice that these are all sorted with symbols, right? It's not sorted based on like a number or numeric value. It's actually using an equation to like determine the order. But yeah, Star Wars system, it's got everything you'd expect. You got, your ranged and stuff for all this. I don't know how to describe it, but you have like all the fields you need, right? You can equip stuff and unequip it. They'll appear over here. Let me add an item. Actually, I don't. Did I break this? I might have broken this. Interrelated skill, survival. I might have broken this because this is kind of hard coded. But yeah, I definitely broke it. Bummer. But I have to go back and fix that then. Crap. Yeah, the Star Wars system has gotten much love. I think the last time it worked on it was like 3 months ago. So it in itself, like I think it's pretty awesome because of this. Like you can just go in and modify the rules. And since Star Wars is a narrative, it's such a narrative game. I just haven't been able to justify like really getting in and automating it. I'm sure it'll be useful, but I'm also not experienced enough with it. You can build dice pools too if you don't want to do anything in the menus. If that makes any sense. Show all the dice types that are in the game. You can add custom dice types into the system too. Like here you'll see, it's got like fate dice mixed in with all this stuff. Um, so it'd be entirely possible to remake any system within the program. Yes, absolutely. That's one of the major points of this program, right? I wanted to make something that made it possible to make stuff completely independent because I actually don't play a lot of D&D. I play Warhammer 40K stuff. I like the Fantasy Flights 40K line. And then I also built another like hero based system. And yeah, I don't stick to D&D much because I just don't have a group that really plays it. But all right. Is the music tab connected to the internet? Yes. Well, so you have two types, right? You have music, which comes from your computer. It's like MP3 files and, wave files and stuff like that. And then you have the actual YouTube, right? So, sax guy, right? And then this synchronizes with everybody in your session, so everybody's listening to this at the same time, right? Everybody has their own independent volume control, but everyone's listening to it, like listening to what you're doing. Right? And then you can basically skip your time and it'll synchronize with everybody. Crap, I love this. Yeah. It's synchronized, and if you need stuff as soon as possible, you can just grab it from there. But, there's a lot more power that can be said about the stuff in here too, right? Because not only can you just grab that, but you can actually save this stuff into your notes. So like you can pull out images and things like that, right? Watch. Oh, I think because I opened that thing earlier, I totally broke this session. Yeah, let me go back to it because that's definitely what happened. Yeah, but you can open up these notes and stuff like that, and basically grab this stuff. Hang on, I might have just found a bug. I did find a bug. Hooray! Kind of. I wonder if that slideshow's the problem. We did it, guys. We found a bug. Alright. It's a pretty massive system, if I do say so. So, not that I'm trying to make an excuse, but, there's a lot for me to cover. And, yeah, but, like, there we go. You can basically do that stuff and share it in a slideshow or something like that. You can program conversations. You can embed YouTube videos so you can pull them up. There's a lot you can do. A lot. Like this conversation here, you could just click it and go out to chat. Kind of makes narrating a lot easier. But, alright. Let's move on to showing you guys about the dynamic lighting stuff. I'm going to go back to my Doot game. My skeleton. Alright. So, this is a good one. Good map here. Alright, cool. I got one set up. Right, so to do dynamic lighting, all you really have to do is go to this Fog of War button. Right? Right, you go to Fog of War, enable Fog of War, and that turns on the dynamic lighting. You can reveal specific areas, and you can hide specific areas, do some manual, like really tight stuff. And then you can draw walls. So like I could draw walls, right? And then like you can like, depending on how you put them on layers, you can do more advanced stuff, like have doors open and things like that. Um, this radius you're seeing here, you can set that up by going into the piece options, and there's a site field here, right? You can also put in a move field, which is kind of neat, right? It'll give you actually like a gridded movement, if that matters to anybody, which I think is pretty cool. Right now it's just the squares. Um, you can basically, to do curved walls, you basically just do this. You hold down, I think, Control, right? You can hold Shift to ignore the grid, but you can hold Control, and then it'll like continue to chain. So like I'm holding Shift and Control right now, and then when I'm done, I just right click, and then you get that. So yeah, kind of neat. Um, yeah, it's just lines there, but like you can do a lot with lines. So, and you can put a lot of them in. Like it's not like, as long as you're not making more than like 1,000 walls. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. This is aimed to be a replacement to that subscription, which I personally did not like. I personally hated that subscription, and it's part of the reason what drove me to this. But also because, I didn't see a whole lot of progress happening in Roll20 besides, modules and selling you stuff. So I'm like, okay, let's build something that actually helps the user, helps the GM actually present and build custom systems and homebrew. Because they're kind of stuck too. Like they have to be compliant with Wizards of the Coast because they sell their stuff. And I'm not condoning that, you should pirate and steal this kind of stuff, but they can't let you share PDFs that you own because that would take business away from Wizards of the Coast. And in the resource pages here, you can do exactly that, right? I don't know if I have a PDF. Yeah, I don't have a PDF up. But like you can set up this to share your PDFs and stuff. This was created in the notes. It's just like a little tablet thing. It's one of the presets. Oh, Star Wars guy. I'm gonna show you something. Let's see, John. You'll like this. Um, One of the things you can do with notes is you can make them like custom HTML, right? And one of the examples I have is you can do like Star Wars intros, which is kind of fun. And then like I could just go over to a slideshow, dump that in here. And then you could share like your own custom. Yeah, so you go to the HTML, it's my example, right? I wrote an example for the HTML code, and you can add in your own Star Wars scrolling text. Although I'm pretty sure I can't call it that. So it's just Space Wars scrolling text. But yeah, it's kind of fun. And there's like roll tables and stuff. Like the resources too, I I made a way for people to add their own types. So as modding support gets better, you'll see more stuff. Because right now I only have these 5. You can put in a website, you can put in a roll table, the normal notes, all this stuff. But I made a way for you to actually add your own stuff to it. While we're on the dynamic lighting, I might as well show you some of the stuff you can do. So here you'll notice I can see everything as the GM, but like let's say I was supposed to join as a player. Right? Oh god, you guys are seeing my internal IP and all my tabs. Look at how many tabs I have, guys. Right? And so if I join as a player, my frame rate's gonna die right now because the client is actually it's kind of expensive to run. Kind of, and I'm also streaming too, so my computer's just killing itself. But yeah, like you got the dynamic lighting here, there's exploration, right? So gonna get to collisions, but yeah, you can see this dragon appear and disappear. Because I'm a masochist, I don't know. You should see the comments my friends say to me about that stuff. It's freaking hysterical. Yes, you can walk through walls. One of the requests right now is to make collisions for players so they can't do that. And that's actually not terribly difficult. I say now, right? But it's just doing a line trace to see if you go into a wall, and if you don't, or if you do, then don't let them. But yeah, so like you got player view right there. It's got exploration, which is kind of cool. It's a pretty new addition. Yeah, I mean, my personal take on it is like tabletop games are so easy to cheat at that you really can't go into them with people who want to cheat. But then again, some people would just like to mess with you. So, it's kind of a balancing act. But yeah, collisions for walls, I think that'll be a thing. Um, I think that makes sense. And it's not terribly difficult to do. But yeah. All right, let me go let me go through, see if I missed any questions. I know I've been jumping around. I think I started to kind of find my way this last 20 minutes, but cool. I guess I'll. So each player has a copy of the player's handbook. Uh, no, not really. I don't give out any of the. I mean, they have access to the SRD content, sure, but I don't give out any of the PDFs and stuff. Yeah. But the nice thing is you can actually share the PDFs, and I wish I had one. Let me see if I can find one on my computer. Uh, all right, I'll take this. This is from what. So a lot of this art comes from this guy called his Blue Sword Games. He makes some really cool maps, and uh, I try to promote his stuff as much as possible because we actually use it here. But you should definitely check out his Patreon because his maps are friggin' awesome. And who knows, you might see more of them. He makes it all for free too. Like he's trying to make like content for people who want to just share art, right, and build their campaigns really cool. So yeah, definitely check him out. I'll actually link him right now because he's worth it. If you guys like Patreon, if you willing to subscribe for some cool art, definitely hit him up. All right, let's add this PDF here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my Red King PDF. I can pick a page if I want, page 23, which probably doesn't exist. Yeah, it doesn't exist. Change link. Couldn't load plugin. Never seen that before. Huh, weird. Something up with this PDF. Get the one shot first one. I think that one works. Huh. Interesting. Couldn't load plugin. I've never seen that before. But I'll show you it from the player's view because they work on the web browser. Right, so a player could basically just come in and pop over to the resource page and then check out the PDF. Oh god, I'm absolutely killing my computer. But yeah, don't mind the frame rate. But yeah, they could come over and pop in and see the PDF. Yeah, well, that's a really good use for this is with the web browser as a local GM. Let's say you're playing in person, you can take this browser here and put it over at a different monitor, and then you can take this, um, your GM Forge view, and then do all your GMing stuff in it. So, I gotta stop saying it. But yeah, it makes it really easy to become a player, which lets you see what they see. And that's important too sometimes, especially when you're running or maybe like stress testing a session or something like that, right? Maybe you're doing some preparation. But all right, guys. I'm open to more questions. I don't have anything that's coming to mind on what to explain. So, what do you guys got any questions or something like that? It might. I mean, it's on the workshop, so he explicitly says it's a fan adventure. So unless Fantasy Flight Games is really hunting down this stuff, you know, flickering intensely. The only time I, the only thing I think might be happening is like sometimes when I'm recording. Um, are you in full screen mode? The only thing I notice is sometimes when I do like recording with some other software, the menus will flicker because basically it's like calling a resize hook on the screen, and I don't really know why that happens. Um, Try running it in windowed. Tell me if it's still doing that. I don't think it's a non or a negligent issue or something like something I can ignore. I think, but I want to see if it does that in the windowed mode. Is there any way to distinguish the outside from a fog of war? How do you mean? Oh, is the token map library pretty extensive? You can add in any type of token as long as you have the image. You just put it in your files and you do it there. What I provide in the default, it's decent. It's not great, right? This is a lot of stuff from Blue Sword. There's a pretty good number of tokens to play with. There's a bunch of nouns and effects and icons, sci-fi maps, some area maps. That's very weird. How many monitors are you running? But daylight, but you can't see past the wall. You can have fog of war that's not pitch black if that's what you mean. So it'll show you the map, but it won't like hide the map, but it won't or it'll show you the map, but you won't be able to see the enemies. So it still covers stuff up, but you can still see the background of the map. Is there a way for players to see that there is a room instead of just the void? You can do you can do ceilings. Um, like I think I might have that up. Yes, yes, you can. You can have alpha fog of war so you can see the background. Um, it's not just pitch black only. Let's see. Video promo. Okay. So there's a way to make this is a little edge casey. So don't take it on my word too much. But you see how this like ceiling here? When I go over to the player view, I gotta pull it up again. Right now, to set up a character with dark vision, you just add your own aura. There isn't like multiple layers of the Fog of War yet. It's just like you have sight and that's it. I plan on making some sort of like gradiented mode so you can like. Oh, but yeah, there's weather too. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, like. Okay, I don't have access to this character yet. Asset, access, wizard, owner. Wizard. Right? So you can make it so you can, walk into buildings. It's kind of cool. Right? I don't know. It might be a little. You can force people to the map by going over to the tab at the top. Can't do it at a player view, right? You go up here and you double click or you right click. And you go to force players to tab. And then I'm not sure you can change that yet. So you make those roofs by taking an image and then pinning it to the map, right? And then every time you load that map, any pinned tokens basically get baked into the map Fog of War stuff. You can link to YouTube videos and you can upload locally. So if you have MP3 files on your computer, you'd use the music tab. And if you just wanted to pull from YouTube, you'd use the media tab. You can embed them into notes too, so you can look up something in advance and keep it there as a button. I don't think you can change a local host yet. Can you make gray totally covering? Yeah, you can make different colors of Fog of War, sure. So like, I'll go over to Camp Store. And then I'll go to Fog of War, fog color, gray. Don't mind the loading time, that's just because of what I'm running right now. Right, but yeah. Oh, right. Wow, this is really dying right now, probably because of my bazillion tabs. Yeah. Yeah, you can make gray like this. You can add your own custom colors too, like you could do green if you wanted to. I don't, there might be a case for that, but hell if I know. God damn, that's ugly. Can you enter a map through the larger map? Yes. So, um, you could use manual Fog of War to a single room, sure. Like you could draw like a square around it, and then the void would stay black. But yeah, when you have maps on this, when you have them connected, so you can enter into it just by clicking that, like a button. So the rain comes from there's two ways of doing it. You can choose the weather up here. There's rain and then there's snow. Oh, that's hail. Right, snow's this one. So you can do rain and snow. I know you would prefer that. I would as well, but it actually breaks YouTube's terms of service if I do it that way. Yeah, I can't do YouTube but sound only. That breaks YouTube's terms of service. So that's not really a possibility. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but I made them as small as I could so you could move them along. There is a way to make it display. Like if you open up two tabs, right, and you have one tab with the media option enabled. So like you can go over here and turn media enabled on. If you have that, you can turn that off on one tab and then keep the other tab open, and then have that one tab will get the actual YouTube pop up and play the music while the other tab has a clear view. And I gotta mention that you can open as many tabs as you want. Like You could open a second GM screen too if you wanted to. Right? Instead of this, you would just type localhost. Right? And then this one joins as a GM. This only works. Oops. Oops. Oh, maybe you can't. I lied to you. I'm a liar. My reputation is sullied. Huh, that worked in the past. I must have broke it. Oh, right. That's right. Okay. Yeah, so you can't connect to the 192.1.6. You gotta do the loopback address. You're so smart, D. You can't like pre-send resources. You could force them to the tabs, but you can't like there's no way to like cache resources. Your browser will do that naturally. So as soon as they as soon as they load it once, they'll have that stuff for them to use and see. But yeah, you can't like send it in advance. Can you change the outcome of dice rolls before a player sees it? No, not really. You can roll dice privately, and you can actually change what they actually rolled. Um, in certain cases. Let's see. So like, there's a private button there. Um, oh, did I remove that too? I did. Maybe I'll add that back in. There's a way you could like change the result of a dice roll, but I don't think you can do that right now. I think I found it to be too confusing for people, so I pulled it out. Yeah, no, you can't forge dice like that. I'm not seeing the edit event. I thought I had D. I thought I remember. I don't know why it's not here, but could be the system. No, but you could roll something like this. I mean, you can force a dice, D20, and then do 18. I think that should work. Yeah, and like cheat like that, I suppose. I'll put this in chat. Yeah, it's not letting me paste it into Twitch. So, but that's the equation you would roll, and then you'd put /R before it. I understand that's pretty um, long-winded, but it's kind of an edge case. Oh, right. Yeah, no. Let me move that over. My fat head is in the way. I don't want them to know. Yeah, forging isn't it's not easily accessible. I mean, you can do that, sure, right? But it's not like super easy to see. Oh, I do. All right, what else we got? Yes, players can be on a different tab than you. There's some funny things you can do with the tabs. You can add a timer to them. It's kind of weird, but you can change the name. You can grant access to individual people. So like if you only want a certain person to be able to see the tab. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. But nothing. They're just kind of. I don't really know why they're in there. I think I got bored one day and I was like, I'll put a timer. I thought I liked the idea of like having a countdown for like trying to force your players to make like a really specific decision or something. Yeah, they don't actually affect anything. They're just they're just there. Kind of random stuff like that. There should be. There should definitely be a timer for chat. It makes more sense to put it there. All right, guys, it's been about an hour. I'm gonna start wrapping up the stream. I'll move it to the side. Stick it right in the middle. Uh, yeah. So it's been like an hour. I hope this helped you guys get a better idea of the tool. I'm sorry for such the lack of videos and things like that. There are some on the YouTube channel. No, not yet. I've had that. I've had that feature. Um, oh no, I get it. I get it. You're just curious. In fact, a lot of times I think when people are asking the most questions, it means they're the most interested. So, you know, it's flattering in a way. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, but yeah. Um, sorry for the lack of videos. I'm gonna be working on some over the weekend. I'm just doing a lot of marketing and trying to do that stuff. But yeah, if you can share this with anybody anybody you see talking about stuff online or looking for something like this, hit up the YouTube channel. There's a decent number of videos. You can at least kind of find out some of the features, like the Fog of War video is good. Um, yeah, the Fog of War video is good. There's the custom character sheet one that should get you at least familiar with the starting a character sheet. There's there's a basic overview. You might be able to think of stuff. It's a little old at this point, but there's a lot of good info, even though the videos aren't all up to date. Well, D, considering this layout is because of you, uh, I'm happy about it. It's it's a pain to get told, you know, you're terrible at UX design, but I am. So, uh, but hey, we come to expect more tutorial vids. Yes, I want to do more quick cast videos. I'm gonna do a getting started one tonight or tomorrow, and then I'm going to do a system building tutorial where I really dig into how to set up a system. Oh, please. Yeah, please. If you guys want to make videos, make them, throw them up on the workshop. I'll talk about them on Discord. I'll post about them on Reddit, right? If you guys can just share your knowledge as much as possible, that's going to help everybody, and it'll basically take me off the seat from doing all this marketing and community stuff. I don't stream very often. I was thinking of doing a stream every Saturday because then people could come in and talk and build the system or something. But yeah, I don't stream very often. Um, yeah, but the more guides people write, the more screenshots people share, the more they talk about the tool, uh, the more time I'll have to actually go back and develop and clean up and bug fix and kind of encourage modding and help push that stuff along. So you know, all the help you guys can give me with getting the word out, that's huge right now. Huge because it'll basically take me off this seat of having to go and tell everybody about it, where I can go back and get back into my hidey hole and build and make cooler stuff. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next quick cast video or maybe another stream later. Oh, also, right before I go, I'm gonna put this up on YouTube or something.